Unlike most of the videos that I respond to, this video was not posted by some random clickbaity channel. It's from the Tarantula Collective, which is, of course, a channel that is about spiders. With that said, I have watched the first maybe minute or so of this video, and it doesn't seem to be great, but let's keep going.
Today we are counting down the top 10 most venomous spiders in the world. My name is Richard, this is the Tarantula Collective, and let's start off with number 10, the yellow Sax Spider.
Yeah, when I said it wasn't a great start, this is why. So, Chiracanthium, the yellow sax spider, is very often included in these top 10 most dangerous or most venomous spider lists, and for no real good reason, because it actually has quite a mild venom, and the massive majority of bites from these spiders only cause very minor local effects. And by local effects, I of course mean the effects don't really spread very far beyond the location of the bite.
They are venomous spiders, and they're often found...
Yeah, when people call a spider venomous, it doesn't really mean much. Pretty much all spiders, with the exception of a single small family, the Ulboridae, are venomous to some extent. Most of those, however, including this species, have a venom so mild that the risk they pose to people is negligible.
Though they are not considered aggressive, they have been known to bite humans when they're protecting their egg sac. The number 9 spider on this...
Okay, so before I go on to the... somehow I can't press pause. Okay, so before I go on to the next spider, I will say that this is supposedly about the top 10 most venomous spiders in the world. Now, there are 36 species of funnel webs. That is some serious competition for any spider that you are going to put on this list.
Jaws and feet. Though they are not considered aggressive, they have been known to bite humans when they're protecting their egg sac.
This kind of applies to, like, pretty much every spider. No spider is aggressive per se. Some can definitely get defensive. Old world tarantulas come to mind. But yeah, there is no spider on Earth that is going to outright attack you, so you don't need to keep saying that a spider isn't aggressive. Now, this is about as far as I got with my initial viewing, and while it isn't great, there's been nothing so far that's made me go like, oh, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean.
9 spider on this list is the wolf spider.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, that didn't last very long.
Aimed for chasing and pouncing on their prey, much like a wolf. There are about...
Yeah, so a common misconception about wolf spiders is that they're all active, wandering hunters. And you know what, some of them absolutely are, but a large number of wolf spider species are sit-and-wait ambush-type predators. They dwell in a burrow, sometimes it'll have a lid, like a trapdoor spider, and they'll just leap out and grab stuff that comes close enough. They aren't all active pursuit predators.
Although the spider is not considered to be aggressive, it will often bite people in self-defense. Wolf spiders are venomous, but their bites are not considered dangerous to humans.
Okay, so he's correct there. Their bites are not considered dangerous to people. But dare I remind you that this video is called Top 10 Most Venomous Spiders in the World, not, hey guys, here are 10 random spiders. So honestly, by including wolf spiders, this video has already destroyed whatever semblance of credibility it had left.
Spider's large fangs cause physical trauma at the site of the bite, though the bite itself has been described as similar to that of a bee sting, and the venom the spider injects may cause itchiness at the site.
So similar effects to a bee sting, mild symptoms and all that. Why is it in the top 10 most venomous spiders in the world? A lot of these clickbait videos, I think, tend to include wolf spiders because they're very commonplace, familiar spiders, and making them out to be dangerous sells fear. But for a channel that's actually devoted to spiders, I expected better, and I'm fully aware that I sound like a disappointed parent here, but there's just no other way to say it.
Number 8 is an infamous species that gets a bad rap. It's steeped in folklore and old wives' tales.
Black Widow.
Number 8 is the Black Widow spider. Although the bite is thought to be fatal to very small children and the elderly, no deaths have ever been attributed to bites by a Black Widow within the United States.
Okay, so look, I didn't see many issues with that at all, although, full disclosure, I'm not all that knowledgeable on Latrodectus, so there could very well have been some errors that I let slide. When it comes to medically significant spiders, funnel webs are definitely my thing, even if it's just for roasting.
Is not only the largest spider on the list, but the only tarantula to make the cut, and that is the Goody Sapphire Ornamental. The Poecilotheria Metallica is one of the most gorgeous tarantulas.
Yeah, look, I can kind of understand including this because Poecilotheria Metallica does have a very potent venom, and yes, there are plenty of tarantulas with really potent venom, so please drop the whole tarantulas are harmless and their bite is like a bee sting shtick, because in quite a few cases it is absolutely not true. To my knowledge, some African species like Stromatopelma calciatum or Heteroscodra maculata could also be strong contenders for the title of most venomous tarantula, so they might be a better fit than Poecilotheria metallica. But, you know, whatever, they aren't as sexy as this species, so I guess it makes the cut.
Most tarantula bites are about as painful and dangerous as a wasp sting, but these fringed...
Oh, there you go. Just what I was talking about. There are a lot of tarantulas, especially in Africa and Asia, that could give you a bite considerably more painful than a wasp sting. And I'm not just talking about venom here, I'm talking about mechanical damage as well. Because tarantulas, as is pretty easy to notice, have a pair of gigantic fangs that can be driven down very deep with tremendous force. That is a lot more physical damage than any wasp sting could ever inflict. And then, of course, the fact that many old world tarantulas have strong venom is icing on the cake.
Now, this next spider is related to a previous spider on the list. Though they're not as popular and feared, this spider is a little bit more venomous. So number 6 is the brown widow spider.
Wait.
The gray widow and the geometric button spider.
Latrodectus geometricus above the black widow? Latrodectus, whatever, there's multiple species of black widow. Yeah, I'm kind of skeptical about that one. To my knowledge, and like I said before, I could very well be wrong because I'm not that well versed on Latrodectus. Latrodectus geometricus is generally considered to be a fair bit less dangerous than the black widow. Not least because its small size means it can't inject as much venom. Now, as for the drop-for-drop toxicity of the venom, I'm not entirely sure, so I don't know, I'll leave that one open, but still, the position of this spider on the list is, bullshit.
Now we're going to stay within the Latrodectus genus for number 5, and that is the redback spider.
Here we go.
Latrodectus hasselti is another cousin of the black widow, though it is not nearly as common. This spider is native to Australia, but it has spread to New Zealand, Belgium, and Japan through grape exports, because they often build their nests and webbing inside the bunch.
Is this CGI? Yeah, I think this is CGI. That's an odd choice of image, but okay.
Redback spiders are not aggressive and are more likely to play dead when disturbed. But a female spider defending her eggs is very likely to bite. Bites also occur when the spider...
Yeah, you know, I've ripped into this video a fair bit, but it does still deserve to be complimented on the fact that it doesn't do much in the way of fear-mongering at all. Sure, the information isn't the most accurate, and many of the choices of spiders to include in this list so far have been questionable at best. But there's no fear-mongering. He's making it pretty clear that none of these spiders actually target humans or want to bite you, so props for that.
Both male and female redbacks are venomous, but most envenomations primarily result from female bites.
Yeah, so both sexes are venomous, but the males are too small to present any sort of threat to people.
This spider can moderate the amount of venom it injects, and the severity of these symptoms often depend on how much venom is delivered.
Yeah, that applies to every spider, and not only to spiders, but to a lot of venomous animals. Venom is precious, and it's not something that an animal is going to be inclined to waste on something that it doesn't intend to eat. So it is pretty common for a lot of spider bites not to involve much venom or any venom at all. It's not something that's in any way exclusive to this species.
Coming in at number 4 is the brown recluse spider. Its hemotoxic venom destroys the walls of blood vessels near the site of the bite, sometimes causing a large skin ulcer.
Bites by brown recluses do have the very rare potential to cause some pretty significant skin necrosis. But most bites are mild. At this point, it's kind of a recurring theme for medically significant spiders. Yeah, they can cause you some significant harm, but most of the time they won't.
Number 3 might be the most feared spider in the world. I get a lot of requests to cover this species in my videos,
but
I
think the name's down there.
Really don't ever want to have one, but we're going to talk about it today. And that is the Sydney...
Yes! Finally, I'm not gonna lie, whenever I watch one of these, most dangerous spiders or most dangerous animals in Australia, I always look forward to the funnel web parts. Let's go.
The Sydney funnel web is a highly venomous species of spider from the Megalomorph order that is native to
Okay, taxonomy police time. The Megalomorphi are an infraorder and not an order. The order that they belong to is the Araneae, which are the spiders, and needless to say, everything on this list belongs to that order.
True to its name, the spider is predominantly found within a 100-mile radius of Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, so they are found around Sydney, but whenever they talk about it, they always show footage or photos of the city, and trust me when I say, Sydney funnel webs are not going to be, touring the Opera House with you or climbing the Sydney Harbour Bridge. They're mostly living around the bush. They're not something that you're very likely to see there.
Symptoms beginning less than an hour after the bite.
This isn't a Sydney funnel web. This is another species of funnel web called Hadronychus cerberia.
Dizziness, excessive...
I remember where this image came from. So this isn't a Sydney funnel web either. This is another Hadronychus species. This spider comes from Fraser Island off the coast of southeast Queensland, and it's probably Hadronychian fencer.
All bites are considered medical emergencies and require immediate hospitalization, although
All bites are considered medical emergencies for precaution's sake, although not all bites from Sydney funnel webs, or any funnel webs for that matter, cause severe symptoms.
Coming in at number 2 is a very popular spider, and that is the Brazilian wandering spider. It can be easily identified by its hairy appearance, along with it...
Is that even Phonutria? I'm not sure. But can be easily identified by its hairy appearance? Yeah, I think in the world of spiders, that doesn't really do much to narrow things down. Like, you might as well say they can be identified by having 8 legs.
Some sources suggest, though, that only 2% of bites from these spiders result in the need for antivenom as a treatment.
Okay, so that's good. I was going to mention that fact earlier, but because he often got to mentioning it anyway in the case of previous spiders, I thought I'd wait to see if this was the same. So, yeah, he's correct. There was a study that found that a very low proportion of bites by Brazilian wandering spiders actually required medical treatment. So even though the information here isn't exactly top quality, and some of the spiders he included are ones that I definitely wouldn't have included if I'd done this video, there's no fear-mongering, and he's making it pretty clear that even these really medically significant species ultimately don't pose that much of a threat. So kudos.
The venom of the Brazilian wandering spider is extremely potent, but it's not particularly good at injecting it into humans. This is because they have a relatively small mouth, and they're not able to...
Yeah, so what I said about the information not being top-notch, well, here we go again. Spiders don't inject venom with their mouth, per se. Their mouth is just a small hole. They inject venom through the fangs that are situated on their chelicerae, and the chelicerae are a pair of appendages located in front of the mouth. And the fangs of a Brazilian wandering spider are actually pretty large. Also, the size of the fangs doesn't really have that much to do with the tendency to deliver mild or dry bites. For instance, mouse spiders, which are closely related to funnel webs, have absolutely gigantic fangs, and yet they still dry bite the majority of the time.
And finally, the most feared, the most dreaded, the most venomous spider in the world, coming in at number 1 is
Hang on, you said the Sydney funnelweb was the most feared spider in the world. And regardless of venom potency, I think it's pretty much objective that the funnelweb and the wandering spider are more feared than this thing, which is pretty much only famous for that funny video of one trying to hide.
And I will scratch, and I will bury myself again, and I will flatten my legs this time.
The six-eyed sand spider lives in the deserts of South Africa. It's closely related to the Recluse spider.
While I'm there, the genus name here where it says Sicarius harnai is somewhat outdated. The members of this genus from Africa, which includes this species, have been moved to genus Hexophthalma. Hexophthalma was, for a long while, an unused synonym of Sicarius. But recently, the African Sicarius species have been found to be distinct from the rest, and now the genus Hexophthalma has been revived to encompass those species.
Common symptoms of the six-eyed spider bite include severe pain, nausea, abdominal pain, hemorrhaging, and skin necrosis. But
it's hard to talk about common symptoms for bites by this spider because bites by these spiders are very, very rare.
Little is known about the spider's effects on humans, as only 2 human cases have ever been observed over the past 100 years. In one case, the victim lost his arm, while the other died from massive loss of blood. Despite these terrifying facts, there have been very few spider bites attributed to the six-eyed sand spider, mainly because it
does kind of repeat himself a bit, but yeah, this information isn't that bad. So, Sicarius and Hexophthalma, which I believe are more venomous than Sicarius, they do have a really nasty venom, but it's not super well studied, so it's really hard to definitively rank them on this list, and that's kind of the problem I have with top 10 most venomous or most dangerous lists as a whole. In most cases, there's a fair bit of complexity to how venomous or how dangerous something is. So you can't just come up with a very clear-cut hierarchy where this is more venomous than this and this is more venomous than that.
Deserts that are inhospitable to humans. With no form of antivenom in existence, bites from these spiders are generally believed to be extremely serious and similar to the effects of rattlesnake bites. This is why this six-eyed sand spider is considered the most dangerous and venomous spider in the world.
Okay, so an argument could be made for it being the most venomous, but definitely not the most dangerous. I mean, how can you call it the most dangerous when there's only been a couple recorded bites? And that's the thing, a lot of people just seem to assume that most venomous equates to most dangerous, and while there's obviously going to be some sort of correlation, they aren't necessarily going to be the same. Because when it comes to deciding how dangerous something is, there's a lot of factors that you've got to consider. The temperament, how likely it is to bite, how likely they are to actually encounter a human. For example, let's take Australia's inland taipan. In terms of drop-for-drop venom potency, it's the most venomous snake in the world. However, it has a timid temperament, it lives pretty much in the middle of nowhere, and it doesn't always inject a full dose of venom. So other snakes, like Africa's black mamba, which in spite of having a weaker drop-for-drop venom potency, are considered to be a lot more dangerous. So, long story short, most venomous, most dangerous, not the same.
You would really have to go out of your way to put yourself in a position where you would be in danger of actually getting bit. If you enjoyed this video, check out my top 10 most dangerous tarantulas. And as always, I appreciate you watching.
Okay, so final thoughts. I'll get the positives out of the way first. There's no fearmongering, and that is a big plus because that is by far what irks me the most about the various top 10 videos that I've responded to. This guy is very clearly not trying to convince you to be afraid of these spiders. Now, as for the accuracy of the information, it's inconsistent, and like I said, he included spiders on the list that I think do not deserve to be on the list at all, like especially things like wolf spiders. So that's definitely a problem, especially for a channel that's actually devoted to spiders, so you'd think there'd be a bit more accurate info. But all in all, it's far from the worst video I've responded to. At least there's no mention of 6-foot tarantulas. So that's that. If you enjoy my content, then feel free to subscribe, check out some of my other uploads and let me know what you thought in the comments section. Thank you very much for watching, that is it from me, and I shall see you again very soon.